Hello, and welcome to Financials Podcast Future Rich. I'm your host, Barbara Ginty, and I'm also a CFP. And today I'm doing a solo episode, and I wanted to chat about buy now, pay later. So, on this season, if you listen to some of our guest interviews, you'll have noticed that we have a real trend of credit card debt this season. And I would say pretty large amounts for credit card debt. And if you are a person who is listening and you have credit card debt, you know how easy it is to fall prey to putting things on a credit card. It adds up really quickly. And then with the interest rate, it is much easier to get into credit card debt than it is to get out of credit card debt. And today I want to talk about a different type of debt that is also becoming really popular. We're not seeing quite as much on this particular type of debt, but once again, there's not a ton of reporting on it. So it's hard to say what people are carrying with this particular type of debt. So you're probably familiar with it, but it's called buy now, pay later. And so buy now, pay later is another type of debt. It's very different than a credit card. Essentially, what buy now, pay later is an unsecured installment loan. So there's two types of installment loans. There's secured and unsecured. A secured loan would be backed by collateral, meaning some sort of asset. So for instance, a car loan would be an example of a secured installment loan. Buy now, pay later is unsecured, meaning there is no asset that they can use as collateral. Installment loan means that they're going to give you the money upfront to make your purchase, and then you are going to pay that back over a specified time frame with specified payments. At the end of the term and the end of the payments, the line is closed. Your loan is completely closed and done. So that's a big difference. The other differences between buy now, pay later and a credit card is a credit card is considered revolving debt, which means you could put, we'll just say you have a limit, $10,000. So one month you put 2,000 on it, then you pay it off. So you can spend 3,000 the next month, and you don't pay it off. You spend another 3,000. You spend all the way up to 10,000. Once you pay it down, you have that availability of credit again, right? You can keep using it. It doesn't close until you close the account. Buy now, pay later. Once it's paid off, that is done. If you want to take out or get a loan, another installment loan, you need to get a new loan for that new purchase. It also is only a soft credit check for buy now, pay later versus a credit card. So it doesn't affect your credit score. Often, and this is starting to change, buy now, pay later is not reported to any of the three major credit reporting agencies, and credit cards are. And that is, if you max out a credit card or you're defaulting on your payments, that affects your credit score. So as of right now, and this is changing, buy now, pay later doesn't really affect anything. One of the biggest differences that people unfortunately are not aware of is with a credit card, you have a lot of consumer protections in terms of disputing a bill or disputing a charge, if you want to return an item or it's a faulty item. And with buy now, pay later, you really do not have any of those consumer protections that you are accustomed to with a credit card. Like, so for instance, you can call American Express and say, you know, I worked with this vendor and the service was not what they said it was, and they can decline to bill you for that or contact the vendor. There are not those protections that you see with credit cards that we're all used to with buy now, pay later. So that's one thing to be wary. Or if you want to make a return, you took the installment loan, no longer want the product. Now what? You still have to make the loan payment because the loan, buy now, pay later, is a third party service, and then you're dealing with the merchant. So that's something that can get a little messy. And I would say that's a very big difference from credit cards that people are not always aware of. Now, with credit cards, we all know the major players, but with buy now, pay later, the top companies are Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, and PayPal. Now, there's more than that, but those are the top four companies. And often with buy now, pay later, there's various ways, but the most popular way to use buy now, pay later is for pay. So you get 0% interest, you get all the money up front for the purchase, and you pay it off in four payments. Now, the risk with buy now, pay later is yes, it is interest free if that is what you've agreed to. So you agreed to the four payments and they say that is 0% financing, that is interest free. Where the risk comes is late fees if you don't make your payment, overdraft fees. Some of these companies require you to set up automatic payments. So the payment goes through and you don't have money in your account, you'll get an overdraft fee, missed payments. And then if you were to use a longer dated loan with them. And then there can be additional merchant fees for the cost of doing the business. So those are some very different fees that are different than what you might be used to with a credit card. Now, what I will say that I find concerning about buy now, pay later is I read an article in the Wall Street Journal about four individuals and how they were using buy now, pay later. So I'll tell you the one I really particularly didn't like. So one of the individuals used buy now, pay later to buy a concert ticket. The equivalent in USD was $366. So for me, I would not recommend anyone use buy now, pay later for a concert ticket because you will still be making those installment loan payments after the concert, and there is zero value there. So should you get in financial trouble, you still have to make those payments and there's nothing for you to sell. Somebody else in this Wall Street Journal used it to purchase a mattress to the tune of almost $2,000. That to me would be a way to use buy now, pay later for this one time big expense that you have for a product that still has value at the end of your loan. So will you be able to sell it for 2000? No, it's no longer brand new. But at the end of your loan, let's say you lose your job and you still have this loan payment, you could, in theory, sell that mattress and get money back, right, to help pay for your loan. I also, a lot of for these four people featured in this article, I really think it should be used as a proactive solution for a problem. So you're going to use buy now, pay later because you do need to buy a mattress. It's a one time expense. You're getting your bonus in 2 months. You don't have it now and you want to spread out that payment. That makes sense to me. And that you know you can make the payment so it will definitively be 0% financing. It's also for a product that holds value and will continue to hold value. Obviously it's depreciating value, but that's okay. There's still value. There's still a product there you could sell. That I like. What I don't like is what we're often seeing where the installment loan is a reaction and has taken out at checkout, at point of sale without much thought. And that's what they want, honestly. The reason that this is offered is because the retailers are able to increase the wallet share they have with a customer because if they don't have the money and they give them this option, they are more likely to make a purchase even if they can't afford it. And so that benefits the retailer. It does not benefit you. So I do not believe in making the decision at point of sale to take out an unsecured installment loan because that's what it is. Now they make it incredibly easy for you to do that, but I believe like any other type of credit or any other type of loan, it should be a thoughtful planned process and you should be taking out the loan knowing and understanding the terms of your loan and why you're using the loan. And it should not be a reaction at point of sale of like, oh, great, I don't have to pay for this. I'll just buy it now and I'll pay for it later with no real plan for your budget on how to do it. The other thing that I'm seeing is where people are taking more than one, and I think it happens in instances where it's completely on plan, point of sale, which is exactly what the retailer would like you to do, is just at point of sale say, "Oh, yeah, well, I guess I can also get that because I no longer need to pay for my purchase with my budget. I'll figure it out later." That is not the way to use this, and that to me is a very slippery slope, and as we're seeing with credit card debt, the numbers are growing with people having more and more credit card debt and feeling very overwhelmed because it's much easier to get into credit card debt than it is to get out. And I would say the same thing with buy now, pay later. It is very easy to sign up for that at point of sale. And if you end up with too many of these and you start missing payments, you're going to have higher interest and it can get overwhelming to try to manage it all now that if you have 10. So I just want to, I don't want to say be the bearer of bad news, but caution against using buy now, pay later as a reaction to a point of sale purchase. And say if you're going to use it, you can use it strategically to get that 0% interest for a planned purchase, knowing what your payments are, when your payments are going to be, and that you can make those payments. And if you're using it because you don't have money that month, well, I would not do that unless you definitively know you're going to have money next month to make the payment. And if you don't know about that, well, then maybe you should not be making the purchase. So the big change that we have coming, which I think will affect people, is starting this fall. And we're in fall, so I'm not exactly sure what date this is starting. But most of these companies haven't been reported to the credit agencies. So you could take 10 of these loans. It does not affect your credit because up until this point, it's been known as phantom debt because it's not being reported. So no one really knows that much about it. But Affirm is starting to report to Experian and TransUnion, and then Klarna is reporting only its monthly plan, but is reporting to TransUnion. And the big change is FICO is going to start incorporating buy now, pay later into two of its FICO score models, which is the first that this is happening. So, what that means is, your payment history is one of the largest factors when calculating your credit score. And so, if you're making on time payments, that could favorably impact your credit score. But if you're missing payments, then it could negatively impact your credit score. Now, this is not out yet, but this is coming. And so, up until this point, it really hasn't had any effect on your credit score. It doesn't show at all, doesn't impact it at all. But it seems like that is definitely starting to change with the FICO score and with two of these companies reporting, two of the four large ones. Because remember, the four large ones are Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, and PayPal. So two of them are reporting. We're starting to report. And so I think this will probably start to change so that it could have an impact on your credit score. Your credit score has a very big impact on your credit life. Getting utilities, right? Getting approved for a loan, it does impact things. So that will be interesting to see how that is going to play out, but that is important to note because Lending Tree found when they did a report survey that more than 4 in 10 buy now, pay later um, holders have late payments. And so that's not ideal. So it's just something to be very cautious of. So overall, you can use buy now, pay later. I would use it strategically. I would research who you're going to use, which one of the vendors, and know why you're going to use it. A big purchase to spread it out because you have a bonus coming, you have money coming and you want to even out the payments. But I would not be using it as a reaction to a purchase at point of sale that allows you to buy something that you otherwise wouldn't have had the money for. So I hope that helps. If you have questions on buy now, pay later, you can always send us a message on Instagram or on the website. And in terms of recording, we have a few guest submissions that we need to get back to. I am planning on recording again later this month. So if you are interested in being a guest, send your submission in and we'll be recording in the next few weeks. And these episodes won't air until next year. We are full for guests for this year, but we are going to start recording again at the end of the month, mid-month, for next season's episodes. And as always, if you like the show, the best thing you could do for us to help us is share it with a friend and rate and review us. And you can find us for the most up-to-date information on Instagram at Future Rich Podcast. Time for our disclaimer. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance references are historical and do not guarantee future results. Make sure that you consult with your own legal, tax, and/or financial advisor before making any decisions.